give you some tips and help you on getting your vegetable garden going.
All right.
So this week we're just gonna get started, okay? We're not gonna teach you everything we know, because we know so much over the last year. We're just gonna teach you about getting started.
So what do we have here, sweetie?
That's not part of the script, but what we have here is tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, jalapenos, basil, sweet peppers, cilantro. These are really important being right here because they just look kind of good. So, all right.
So the reason that we have them inside is because it's not yet warm enough to plant them outside. So
Right.
there are a few we've planted in the garden so far. And what ones are those again?
Yeah, so it's April 9th today. So there are things you can plant outside, and there are things you can't plant outside. So you want to get a pen and paper, your iPad, get ready to type these down. The things you can plant outside right now are, just waiting for you to get your iPad or your pen and paper. Okay, it is spinach, lettuce, kale, arugula, beets. I know you were wondering about beets. Potatoes, strawberries, onions, garlic, and sweet peas. You can get those planted right now. You can actually, as soon as the soil can be worked, you can plant all of those. So it can still be frosting outside. It's fine. We did ours beginning of March. So you can get those planted as early as possible.
Is it too late to plant them now if you were to start them in your garden?
Nope, get them going now.
Okay.
That's great.
And so these ones are the ones that you want to wait to plant till around May 10th is about the day when you can expect that the frost will be over. Or the soil temperature is on average around 50 degrees, so you won't get too many cold nights that will fry these little plants.
Right. So even though most of the frosts are over and you think, I'm ready to get these plants going, I want to get tomatoes going, really keep them inside growing until May 10th. Because like Bonnie said, the average soil needs to be at around 50 degrees for them to really get growing well. If you don't start them in here, what can we do?
Well, you can buy bigger plants to start.
Right.
We started all of these from seeds, but you could easily buy a bigger tomato plant at the store and plant that in your garden around May 10th. The tomatoes are one we had some trial and error with last year. We started them from seed, which was fine, except for we started them a little too late,
Right.
and they kind of started getting to their peak right around the end of summer. So where it really
Right.
thrives on those hot days, we didn't have it in the ground early enough for that. So if you're going to start later, just buy a plant.
Excellent. Yeah, they were just starting to get ripe as the cold weather was just starting to come, and we didn't really have good tomatoes. So if you're just getting the idea of getting a garden going right now, we would recommend you get the tomatoes and the cucumbers and those from the store. So what can you plant on May 10th? Basically, get ready to write these ones down. It's tomatoes, peppers, carrots, squash, cucumbers, zucchini, cilantro, basil, green beans. All of those you want to wait till the frost is over and the soil's 50 degrees or more. So May 10th is your day.
Okay.
All right, so what's your
Soil.
next question for me?
Soil. What kind of soil do we need? Is that right?
No.
Okay. What do you plant directly by seed?
Good question, Bonnie. So there's some things you want to plant by seed, and there's some things that are better not to. Lettuce, kale, arugula, beets, those can all just make your little, take your finger and make a little divot in the ground, drop a seed or two in, cover it over, those are great. Carrots, you definitely want to plant by seed because we pre-planted them inside last year and then planted them outside, and the roots got all J-rooted, and so then the carrots were like making all these weird shapes. You want to plant them directly, you want to plant them directly in the ground so the root goes straight down. So those ones, as well as squash, cucumbers, zucchini, those grow so fast. If you were to plant those on May 10th from seed, it'd be just fine. They'll get going really fast as long as you give them plenty of water. So
This might be a good time to talk about lettuce. Planting that now is great, but you're also going to want to plant them periodically throughout the growing season so that you don't get bitter lettuce. So you could start some now, and then once that's good, a little bit later you could start your second batch of lettuce.
Mhm.
So that way once your lettuce is growing and established, you're picking that, by the time it gets to its time where it's getting a little bitter, you have a brand new shoot ready to pick from.
So like once a month,
I think that's what
every
we
4
said.
weeks or so, yeah,
Mhm.
you plant some new seeds. And
Yeah.
seeds are really cheap, so you definitely get your value out of that, if you're wondering about that.
Okay.
The things that are good to transplant are tomatoes, peppers, basil. You want to get those going early or buy them from the store and then just plant the plant in there. So,
Now we'll talk about soil.
yes, okay, soil type.
My big question. What kind of soil should we use?
So, good question again. She's firing on all cylinders. From what we've learned, we don't know very much.
We've
But the
done a
things that
garden
we-
for 1 year.
Right.
We liked it, so that's why we're here today.
Right, so, good things to do in your soil from what we've learned are get some bags of steer manure. It's like a steer manure blend, so it's already mixed in with some soil. Get bags of that, dump it in your garden, and then dig it up and mix it in with your existing soil so it makes a nice blend. You don't want to leave the steer manure just directly on the top or it'll burn and it loses the nutrients that are in there. So mix it into your soil. If you can do it earlier, that's better because then as the rain falls on it and it soaks in, all the good nutrients will soak into your soil and be a good place for vegetables to grow. If you have leafy vegetables, vegetables that the end product is the leaf, like what?
Lettuce,
Lettuce,
kale,
yeah,
arugula,
yep,
spinach.
yep. Any of those, you want to make sure you have extra nitrogen. It helps. So nitrogen will really help leaves. So you don't want extra nitrogen on things like carrots, because the top will grow really big and that'll be nice, but your carrot's going to be little because all the energy went to the leaves. But for your lettuces and those things, some extra nitrogen, I'm guessing you can buy it. We haven't even done it yet. We just learned that. So I'm guessing you can buy it in,
Bags?
I don't know, put it on there.
Okay.
So nitrogen for the leafy greens. In the soil, make sure it's fluffy. Vegetables, they need light, fluffy soil, full of organic matter. However you get organic matter in there, it's basically stuff that's not hard dirt. So some people do compost piles and add that in a year later, or have like the extra
Vegetable
parts of their
ones.
onions and stuff they throw in there. That's great. How do you know if your soil is doing well? You could get a whole test kit and you can and all that. That's great. We haven't done that. If you see a lot of worms, if you're creating a good worm farm, you're creating a great vegetable garden. So if you dig it up a month later after you put your steer manure in and you see worms and you see a lot of worms, you're onto something good. So that's our tip for that.
Real quick, I want to show these little trays is what we started our gardens in. You can buy them at Home Depot,
Mhm.
Amazon,
Oh yeah,
anything.
this is good.
They have these little plugs that
You
you,
want to hold it up?
they're flat and hard and dry when you buy them. Then you poke the little holes in and you plant your seed, and then water expands the little plug. And so we started all of these in that size, and just as these ones have gotten bigger, we've transplanted them into little pots that are a little bit bigger, since it's still not warm enough to have them outside.
Right.
Just so as they get bigger, you can put them into something like this, or by the time, if you start these small ones now, might be ready to move directly into your garden. But
And that's just what we've tried. So if
or you can use something you have around the house, like
Right.
a egg carton,
right.
fill it with some soil.
Or ask
and
Mr.
then,
Hill, because I'm sure he knows way more about that than we do. So,
So there's that.
next thing we're going to go into is, this is all about getting your garden started. So we want to take the mystique out of it and make it simple. So one thing people have asked us is, how can we get our garden going? We only have a small space. So you really don't need a lot of space. We tried doing something called square foot gardening that I think Aaron Carpenter told me about. And so I tried doing it and it was great. You basically take the size of garden that you have and you divide it up into square foot increments. And on the back of the seed packet, or if you look it up online, they'll say how many of this plant can be planted in 1 square foot. So instead of thinking about rows where you lose a lot of space between the rows, you can get a lot for your money by doing square foot gardening. So we'll show you. This is, for example, what a lot of people probably think of as a small space, a 4 foot by 6 foot area for a garden. You can grow a ton of vegetables in just a space like that. So this is an example. This is 4 feet tall by 6 feet long. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. That's 24 square feet of garden. If you think about it like that, that's a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll show you what we kind of did here with some of the most useful vegetables, how we spaced them out. So we've got tomatoes. These 3 right here are tomatoes. Each of those take up about 2 square feet. So we've got 3 tomato plants. Then we've got like a sweet pepper or jalapeno, something like that. Plant one of those in 2 square feet. Okay, those are in the middle. So we've got our biggest plants in the middle, so we're not like reaching over, trying to get over our big plants to get to the small ones. So those are in the center of the garden. And we've got a zucchini, a zucchini here and a cucumber up here. Those take about 3 square feet. Those will spread out. I keep them kind of near to the edge because they will grow over the edge, and that's okay. You'll have fruit all around here. But a zucchini and a cucumber, those each take up 3 square feet. Then over here we've got 2 bays of lettuce. You can do 5 in 1 square foot. They'll grow up into a pretty big bunch, so you just do 5 little divots, plant your 2 or 3 lettuce seeds in each one, and they'll grow up great. So that's 2 square feet of lettuce. Then we've got a square foot of kale and a square, or arugula, something like that, and then a square foot of spinach. So there's your greens. That's just in 4 square feet. How many greens do you have? That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
1 square foot here of something like cilantro. Again, there's about 5 can fit in there. 4 of the basil plant can fit in here. 4 basil plants will be enough to make pesto. It'll be plenty. Carrots you can plant pretty close together, so 16 carrots can go in 1 square foot. So in this space I've got 16 carrots, and next to another square foot of 16 carrots. That's 32 carrots just in 2 little square feet. Down the line we've got 4 onions in each square foot, so that's 2 of those, that's 8 onions. So we've got in a 4 foot by 6 foot garden, we've got onions, carrots, basil, cilantro, kale, spinach, lettuce, zucchini, cucumber, peppers, and tomato plant, 3 tomato plants. So you can fit a lot into a small space.
Mm-hmm. One quick note on onions. You don't want to start those from seed because the first year you won't get any of the vegetable. That will basically take the first year to create a bulb, and then the next year that bulb will grow the onion. So that one you want to buy a bulb, so you're at the head start.
That's true. Things. Yeah, if you're wondering why we haven't mentioned broccoli or cauliflower, like you love broccoli, we tried growing both of those last year, and it took 6 months to get this big, huge plant, and then it had this little thing of broccoli, and the cauliflower was like molded or something. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of space for a little bit. So we'd recommend
from your
just
local
buy those in the
grocer.
store,
Support your local grocery
and then focus on the things that you get your money's worth out of, like tomatoes, onions, lettuce, and all cucumbers and all those goodies. All right, if you have any questions, let us know. We might do this again. All right, and June is going to show us her pot that she planted. She got 5 points.
Come on, June.
This is her pot. Come on over, sweetie. And what's in there?
Cosmos.
You gotta say it really bold so they can hear.
Cosmos. How
And
many
we-
sprouts are in there? Just started sprouting.
5? Say 5 cosmos.
Do you
That's
water
right.
it?
Yeah.
June is gonna help take care of the garden this
You
year.
want to show us how you water it? This is a great tool to have. A spray bottle with water.
An amber spray bottle. If it's not amber, it doesn't really work as good. It's not as classy, but it also doesn't work as good.
That's it. That's good. Good job.
Excellent. Well, you enjoy. If you're not having fun, don't do it. That's the rule. That's our rule for you. If you're not having fun, don't do it. Have fun.